Well, welcome to another episode of So What's Your Story? I am LaQuita Parks, your host. I am the CEO and founder of PayProB Publishing, and PayProB means pain, progress, victory, because I believe without pain, there's no progress, and without progress, there can be no victory. And I am absolutely thrilled, excited beyond measure for this group of ladies that I have as my guest today. Have you guys heard of a little thing called the waiting room? What do you guys know about the waiting room? What do you guys know about waiting? So today I have none other than number one international best-selling authors of Listen Linda Presents The Women of the Waiting Room. We call it the Fab Seven. I know you're only seeing four, but that's okay. They coming, and if they can't make it, we will represent. So, hi, ladies.
Hi.
How y'all doing?
Wonderful,
Good.
wonderful.
So, are you guys excited?
Yes.
Are you guys excited? Are you guys excited? Number one bestseller, number one bestseller, number one bestseller. That is absolutely amazing. And it's not just a bestseller to download and say, hey, I bought the book. Read the book if you haven't already. We're getting a lot of great feedback. But before we get into that, this is the sample. You have to buy the book, buy the book, buy the book. Before we get into all that, I want everybody to go around and introduce themselves and tell us who you are, where you're from, and tell us what you think about waiting in one word, one word. And I'm going to start with Miss Carolyn Coleman.
Hello, everyone. I am Carolyn Coleman, better known as Gentry. I am from Alabama, born and bred. And when it comes to waiting in one room, stillness.
Stillness. Now, listen, there will be homework, okay? There will be homework. There will be homework. I'm just saying there will be homework, okay? Just saying. All right, Miss Melanie Johnson.
Of course, you had to come to the teacher after you said homework, but that's all right. I got a notebook. Hello, everyone. My name is Melanie Johnson, and I'm from the SIP, what we affectionately call Mississippi. So I'm like next door to Carolyn. And
Yes.
if I was to describe the waiting room with one word, it would be patience.
Patience. I like that. There will be homework. There will be homework. Miss Jacqueline Cox.
My name is Jacqueline Cox. I am from Chicago, Illinois, but I live in the suburbs of Illinois now. And I would have to say my definition of waiting is obedience.
Obedience. All right. All right. And so I'll take a turn. My name is LaQuita Parks, and I am in Georgia, Riverdale, Georgia, to be exact. And my one word for waiting is quiet. Quiet. Okay. So I want to know, what is this thing called the waiting room? Listen, Linda Presents the waiting room. And so I'm going to go to Jacqueline Cox, who is the vessel. You know, every anthology, and this was an anthology, every anthology has a visionary or a vessel. Jacqueline is the vessel. So that person who's leading the anthology, who's the organizer, the originator of it, and they take that based on their thoughts, their abilities, their gifts, what they feel God has given them, and they incorporate that into a project. Some of them work fabulously, some of them don't. They all have their purpose. But the vessel for the Listen Linda, the women of the waiting room, she did some things differently than I've participated in before. And so I want the vessel to tell us how this project came to be and why the women, why these women, why these 7 women, including yourself, why us?
So this project came to be, it was not my vision. I have been tussling with the waiting room for a few years now with that, just that proclamation, right? I started a couple years ago with just doing affirmations about the waiting room. I felt, as some, a prophet lies may say in a spirit, but I felt something inside. I felt God, okay, and not a spirit, but God, um, while digging deep within myself, speaking to me in terms of um, what it is to wait and what it is to waiting a waiting room. I've underwent a lot of different things as far as mental and physical illnesses, and I've always had to wait for things. Always had to wait. Everybody does, right? When we go to the grocery store, we got to wait in line. When we go to the doctor, we have to wait in the waiting room to be seen. When we go to um, anywhere, the gym, you have to wait on the specific equipment to use, right? We always have to wait for things. We always have to be patient for things, whether we notice it or not. So I came up with the waiting room affirmations. From there, I started a podcast called Listen Linda Presents, um, the women of the waiting room, or the waiting room, where I would have different people, different authors who would come on, or business women or entrepreneurs, or organizers in the community, or philanthropists, or real estate agents, you name it. It was always a woman of color, specifically, who I would have come on to the show to give my audience more insight of who they are, be it they're trying to market their books, businesses, or brands, right? But I know for me, as a customer, but also as a brand strategist, a certified brand strategist. I went to school for business, cum laude graduate, but you put some respect on my name. Um, I've always felt like if you want to sell or market yourself, your book, your brand, your business, people want to know who you are. My favorite uh, authors and poets and musicians, I like their music, I like their books, I like their writing, right? But it wasn't until I saw documentaries, it wasn't until I saw behind the music, it wasn't until I saw these different things about their personal lives that made me want to go out and to support them more. So I would have them come on my show, and I would say, well, send me your bio. And they'll think, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna say, hey, tell me about yourself and what it is that you do. But I would not do it that way. What I would do is I would break down their bios, and I would do more research on them. And then I would go in and I would ask them questions based on the information that not only they gave me, but information that I also researched for myself. And that would dig deeper into who they are and just break down a few of those barriers, but also still give them a safe space in the waiting room to tell people how God delivered them from that waiting room. How did He deliver you from your space of waiting? If you're still there, what does that feel like? And how can others be encouraged from their story? Because, like you said, LaQuita, it's always somebody waiting on the other end of their story.
Absolutely.
And so when you're able to connect with someone that may be in Africa, that may be in Japan, that may be in Russia, that may be in the UK, who may feel or be going through the same thing that you're going through, and may feel like that they don't have a way out. They may not believe in God. They may not believe in the higher power. They can say, well, you know what? She believed in him. And he did the impossible for her. So while I'm sitting here and I'm thinking I'm going through all of these things and nobody's here with me, here's this lady who went through it and he was with her. So if he's with her, I know he's with me in my waiting room. That's how that came to be. So when I decided to do the anthology, well, I didn't decide it, and I'm gonna be real quick because I know we don't have that long. I didn't decide it. God again tapped me on my shoulder after I decided I never wanted to participate in anymore. I just wanted to just do. I've done one before, and I said I just wanted to concentrate on just solo projects. God said, no, you're not going to participate. You're not just going to be a spectator or be in the background or milli vanilli and just do stuff in the background. No, what you're going to do is you're going to show people who you are, who I made you to be. I gave you these gifts instead of hiding behind people and giving away your gifts and hiding behind your gifts. I'm going to put you in front. I'm going to have you lead and spearhead. And what I want you to do is I want you to go to your analytics from your podcast. I want you to take the top 6 shows that you produced with the highest ratings, because those are the shows that people want to hear more about. Those are the people who people resonate with the most. And it might be somebody who never heard of a podcast, don't know how to get to a podcast, don't even know what a blog or a podcast is. How can they be how can more people get to their stories? So when I looked up my first 6 people, it was all my people. It was Say Your Name, LaQuita Parks. It was Church Hurt, Melanie Johnson. It was the Dating and Relationship, Dr. Love with Dr. Velma. It was the Gentry series with Carolyn Coleman, Gentry's Journey. It was the state of affairs with Dr. Audrey Ann, the Melanie Johnson, Teresa Dorsey, and her speaking about her survival of Katrina and what she went through with that. And so when I called you guys up, of course, y'all all said yeah, not because of nobody wanted to do another project, but because you guys trusted me and you loved me and you believed in everything that I'm saying to be true, which I truly appreciate. We were able to produce a quality project because what I am and what I represent is God's kingdom. And when you represent God's kingdom, you do everything of quality. I could have had 50 people in this project or 300 people in this project, but that's not the goal. The goal is quality over quantity. And I believe that this is a reflection of that.
Well, all right. All right. You heard it from the vessel. Okay. Drop the mic and close up the door. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And you said something that's important. When you are working on a project, you have to be able to trust the person that's leading. So what I always say, you have to have the buy-in. And things are not going to always be smooth, but if you have the buy-in and you trust the visionaries or the vessel's direction, then you're able to go through, and the rough patches don't seem so rough. You can get through them. So Jacqueline, I appreciate you for all of your diligence, your hard work. I know there was some sleepless nights. I know there was some frustrations. I know there was some hair pulling. I think all of us experienced that. But it's always something that's going to stop a project that everybody needs to hear. Everybody needs to read, because our stories matter. So I appreciate that. So I want to pivot for a second. Remember, I said there was going to be homework, right? Homework. So I saw your eyes go up, Carolyn. Homework. We are going to do a little bit of homework. Okay, so we are #1 bestseller for the women of the waiting room, right? And so this is as much as it is an interview, it's also a celebration. So we're gonna have a little fun. So you guys know that I'm all about the story. And I said something to Jacqueline. She said, "Oh, we can do this, we can do that." And I said, "Well, I have some things in mind that I don't need to tell you about because it's my show." She was like, "Woo." And I was trying to figure out what I could say to back that up in a smart kind of tongue way. hallway, and I kept saying, what do they say now? What do they say? So that's one thing. When you're trying to get smart with somebody and you don't know what to come back with, don't try it because it makes you look real crazy, right? So I finally figured out, I was like, who gonna check me, boo? So I said to her, who gonna check me, boo? Because it's my show, right? So I'm gonna do some homework. We're gonna do some homework. So remember when you guys gave that one word, okay? Stillness, patience, obedience, quiet. No pens are needed for this, okay? No pens. No pens allowed. Okay. I don't want to see eyes looking down. I don't want to see you sneaking writing. I see your hand over there moving, teacher. Don't want to see that. Okay. All right. Let me see your hands. As the teacher say, let me see your hands. Who threw it? Who threw it? Let me see your hands. Okay. All right. Let me see your hands. That's what the police say, right? Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. I want to see your hands. Okay. So what I want to do right now, we're getting ready to tell a story. Okay.
Ooh.
We're going to tell a story using those 4 words: stillness, patience, obedience, and quiet. Okay. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to start off with a word. I'm going to start the story, and then I'm going to pass it to Melanie, and Melanie is going to have to take up from that story, and then Jacqueline, and then Carolyn. Okay. Using those 4 words. Now you can add more words to it, but those 4 words we're going to use. Okay.
I
And
got a
so
question. Do we have to use our word or can we use any of those 4?
you can, I was gonna say use your word, but we can
Okay.
use
Use your word.
any of those
Okay.
4 words. However, you can't repeat the word. Okay. So I'm gonna start with stillness. And that was your word, Carolyn, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's what I'm gonna start it off. So I'm gonna start off with stillness. In the stillness of the night, I heard a bang. My heart started racing. And I got up, reluctant whether I should get out of the bed to see what that bang was or whether I should stay in the room in safety. I'm a bit of a scary cat, so I'm also nosy. So as I was standing on the other side of my bedroom door, I put my hand on the doorknob and Melanie.
As I began to turn the knob, something said, wait. I did not know what was on the other side, but the anticipation was building, but I had to have the patience to listen to the words that were coming to me because my safety was an issue. So I decided not to turn the knob, but instead put my ear to the door to listen to the sounds that my ears could hear and my sense of touch could feel through the vibrations of the wall.
Jacqueline.
And as I began to listen, I began to hear a voice. And the voice said, be obedient, be patient, be bold, but be obedient. And know and trust that without me, you will not make it past go. So I stayed still in the moment, still in the past, wanting to move towards my future. But I know that if I move, I will not make it past go. God said, be still. God said, be obedient. So I will trust in him because he has surrounded me with a legion of angels. So I am at peace.
Carolyn.
As I went to the door, I heard the word quiet. Anyone who knows me, I don't tip. I walk boldly. But I got quiet. In that stillness, all emotions came. Am I scared? Do I fight? Do I flight? What do I really need to do? The voice
Period.
of the Lord said stillness, quiet. I decided to be obedient. And with obedience comes patience. What is on the other side of the door?
Yes, you guys are awesome. That was really, really good. Very, very good. Yes,
We
yes.
got
I'm
some
so glad
writers,
this was
baby.
recorded. I'm
We
so glad
we
this was
got some
recorded.
talents on this screen.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I decided to see. I'm glad this was recorded so we can play this back and you guys can see how beautiful that was. I loved it. I loved seeing as you came up with the story. I loved it. I loved it. All right. So let's move on to Miss Carolyn. Carolyn Coleman. Now, your title for the waiting room, the women of the waiting room is wait. Okay. Is it wait or waiting?
Waiting.
Waiting. And you're in the medical profession. And so I know that you have seen a lot of the need to wait, waiting on the doctor's appointment, waiting on tests, waiting to see, what was going to be the result. I'm sure you've seen some heartache, some loss of patience. I know you've seen it. So how has this been different from what you're accustomed to seeing in your profession as it applies to waiting?
I remember I did have to have a procedure, and I'm the one who takes care of everyone. So I was, oh, I don't want to have this. I want to do this. I'm pretty independent. I just didn't know how I was going to respond as being on the other side, as being the patient. I'm the one who cares for you. I'm the one who encourages you. I help you get on your feet for the first time after your procedure. So it was different to recall that time in my life where I had to be the patient. Um, and it's so far removed, but the more I wrote, the more I saw, the more the more I experienced all over again. So it's good to look back, especially when you come out good on the other side. But it also spoke regarding heartache, disappointment, and betrayal um, in individuals. And that still goes on to this day. I don't know if we can cut that out. I don't know if we can cut that part out because these things happen. It is called life. So to recall and go back and pick that up, it was cathartic. I'm not going to say I enjoyed it, but it was something that needed to happen and to be on the patient side and on the person who's hurt side. So to bring those two together, um, I felt it was time for it to be told.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that your book, your story was amazing. All of the stories were. And in some parts, especially in the part where you talk about betrayal, I could feel those emotions because it's important. That's a hurt. That's a hurt. And sometimes just like you said, Carolyn, there isn't anything we can really do about anything. We have to pray and just wait for the tides to change. And sometimes they may never change, but that doesn't mean that we don't move on with our lives because you got to want to, you know.
Yeah.
And somebody said a leopard can't change their spots. Well, you have to want to. And somebody also said you can't turn a racehorse into a jackass overnight. Well, they made a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So you can't change them into something they're not. So I appreciated that. I feel like I sit in a privileged spot because I had an opportunity to read everybody's story before everybody had a chance to read everybody's story, except for the vessel, of course. But I feel like when I read the book, I was like, okay, this is really, really amazing. And even though I've read things that you've written before, Carolyn, I've read things that you've written before, Melanie, I've read things that you've written before, Jacqueline, this was different it was different. It was transparency. It was, telling of yourself. It was digging inside of you and bringing out a little bit more of yourself, because every time we tell a little bit more and a little bit more of our story, but we still never tell the whole story. So the Women of the Waiting Room gives you a different view from 7 different standpoints of the importance of waiting and how to overcome the negative. Even though in our lives we're gonna have to wait. I had 2 doctor's appointments today, and both of them I had to wait in the waiting room. I had to wait in the waiting room on both, and I had to wait in the examination room for both doctors. So waiting is a necessary part of living. And so it's if you have not purchased the book, you can purchase the book through it's available on Amazon. You can purchase the book, you can download the ebook, and you can purchase, get your hardcover. Get it from any one of these ladies and get your autographed copy. Okay. All right. So I want to go to Melanie. Oh my goodness. Melanie.
Yes.
Melanie. Your story. Wow, your story. And we've talked before,
Yes.
and I know your story, but your story was amazing. And your story, Melanie, was Healing Deferred.
That's
I
right.
found your title very interesting. And so what made you choose that title, Healing Deferred?
Um, in this world of everybody has to have instant gratification and instant um results, I often thought in my life that if something was wrong, if I was sick, or if something wasn't going right, that it needed to be fixed right then. And a lot of things was going awry in my life, um, from schoolwork to marriage to um, my health. And a lot of times I found myself trying to tell God how to heal me, when to heal me. And I had to learn that healing doesn't come when you want it. Sometimes your healing is deferred because someone has to see you go through the things that God has put you through. Your life is a testimony, not just for yourself, but it's a testimony to someone else, of something they're going through or something that they may have to go through later, and will be able to recall seeing how you persevered through it all. And some things He allows you to get healed from right away. Some things it takes some time for some healing. I was in a relationship, a marriage for 23 years that should have been ended after the second year. But I kept telling God, you need to fix him, you need to change him. But God said, you know what? I'm working on you. So once I realized that, that's when my healing from that relationship could begin. And that took 20 years. So, but I got healed from it. But then there's some illnesses that I have endured that there's no healing from. And I had to learn that that healing is going to come much later. But what He's going to do is teach me how to persevere through the pain, through the treatments, through the days that I just don't feel well. He's going to teach me how to persevere through that, because someone is watching me, and my story is helping them to write their story. And they don't need to see me give up, because if they see me give up, then they lose hope for themselves. So that's where the title came from, Healing Deferred, because sometimes your healing is not instant, but you got to wait in that waiting room for that healing to come, and trust and believe that it's coming. Because if you don't have the faith, then you won't see the healing, because you're too impatient to see God work, to allow God to work. So I had to learn that I wasn't God. I was just his tool.
You know what, you just gave a word to me that I really really love that. And because you're right, we go through so much, and you can't look at a person and tell what they're going through.
No.
And it's like, God said, God answers our prayers. He gives us a yes, no, or just wait. And so sometimes we have to decide, okay, has God answered and it was no? Sometimes God has said no and we keep asking him. But what do? You know what I'm saying? So in the midst of it, I love the healing deferred, because that was a message for me, because I go through my own struggles and every day, and here lately, the last couple of months, I'm like, Lord, you know, has thou forsaken me? You know, because you see his blessings and you see the answer prayers in some areas, but in that one area that you've been struggling with for years and years and years, it's like, is the answer no? And how long? How long, Lord? But Lord says, I'm God, you not God. It's not your will, it's my will. And you're right, you have to have faith, and people are watching. And I know they are. Everybody's watching us. And I've known this for a long time. People are watching you. Yes, there are people who support you and they love you and they're watching you so that they can root for you because they're proud of you. But there are also people who are watching to say, I told you so. You know, especially with Christians, like, I know she does this, she does that. They're watching and they want to see you fall on your face. So people are watching, and I am a firm believer, and you know, the pain gets great sometimes, and it causes my energy to be low, and it causes me. Last night was one of those crying, not just the tears falling, it was one of those sobbing, you know, according to the Bible, I was renting my clothes. It was a sobbing cry. It was a cry out. And I had a really difficult night and a difficult day today. And so, but God says, I'm God. And I know that if it were not him, I would not be sitting here. You wouldn't be sitting here. Carolyn wouldn't be here. Jacqueline wouldn't be here. So I love that heal and deferred, because the title alone, you can take that so many places. And I never thought about that, heal and deferred. It's beautiful. And the story is beautiful. You talk about all the things that you endured. And I'm telling you, I love how the words connected and the pieces. It's like the stories are puzzles, and you're finding the way, and all the stories are different, but they have a commonality. And they flow in, and it's an absolutely beautiful thing. So thank you so much, Melanie.
Yeah, and I wanted to also say, because the women, and I haven't gotten through the whole book because I'm a school teacher and I signed up for summer school. So I haven't gotten through the whole book yet, but I've been reading the stories, and we are so transparent in the things that we've had to deal with. And one of the things that a lot of people, they see me and they see the smiles and they hear the bubbly attitude, but they don't know I was a pastor's wife who was angry with God because of some of the things that I had endured. That's the type of information that people don't see when they look at you and see you face to face. But that's what I wanted to share with them, to let them know this vessel that you see in front of you is not the pristine pastor's wife that you think that it should be. You know, we go through things just like everybody else. We question God sometimes just like everybody else. But the fact still remains that I didn't give up, because he always has a way to bring us back. And that was part of my deferred healing. So I just wanted to let people know that it's not just the good, bubbly stories that you're going to read. We get deep and we get transparent, and some of it's ugly, but
Yeah,
we're sharing it
it's
because
real.
we want someone else to heal from the things that we go through.
Absolutely. I always believe that 100% of everybody living and dead has a story, and somebody is waiting on the other side of your story so they can get healing from their story. I believe that with all of my heart. All right, here we go. Y'all ready for another game? Y'all ready? You ready? All right.
Yes.
All right. All right. Now homework time. So we all know each other, right? We all know each other. We've worked on projects together. We've all it is funny. All of us have been on platforms together. We have been on speaking platforms where we've been speakers. We're all authors. We're all multi authors and multi best-selling authors. And we're all published authors. And we know some things about each other personally, right?
Yes.
All right. So what I want to do now is I want each person, and I'm going to start with the vessel. I want each person to go around and give 5 words to describe everybody on the panel. 5 words. Okay, starting with the vessel. So you're going to describe Carolyn, LaQuita, and Melanie. 5 words.
Okay. Oh, this is a piece of cake. Gentry, smooth, dancer, music lover, firm, and tough.
All right. All right.
Melanie, poetic, nurturing, multi-personality, flirtatious, and multi-talented.
You said multi-talented already.
No.
Yes, you did.
I did. Okay, well, I give you another one. Put your hand down. Let me see. Photographer.
Okay. Melanie, what were you going to say? Carolyn, you can
I
comment
got
on
a
what she said.
question.
Yes,
I got
ma'am.
the question about the flirtatious part. That is, I am not flirtatious.
No,
That's just
I'm
my
not talking
voice.
about as far as like that's what I meant. But she said one word, 5
Okay.
words. I can't, that's why they call you the voice. Okay.
Okay.
That's your voice. It's something you can't help. It's just there. Stop. Look.
Okay. I'll accept it.
Okay.
Carolyn,
I
did
ain't
you
trying
want
to
to
get you
say
in
something?
trouble. I know you got to make it home.
Did you want to say something about what Jacqueline said before she get to me?
Well, the thing about the flirtation, I was like, how would she know?
I said we know something personal about each other. So.
This is what I was thinking. I ain't never flirted with Jackie.
Look. Wait a minute, I ain't saying with me now. I'm just saying, like, I've been on a lot of slams with this girl, and a lot of her poetry is fire in more than one way. So
okay, let's move on.
I ain't saying nothing that our fans don't know. Look,
move on.
Okay,
moving
Jacqueline.
on. All right.
She
Karaoke. Look, no, I ain't. Look, she finna get this work. LaQuita Parks. LaQuita finna get this work. Queen of karaoke. Writer, poet, glamour, and straight no chaser.
All right. I love it. I love it.
Want me to do the rest of the women that ain't here? Because I can do them too.
No, ma'am. Just the people that's here. Just the people that's here. It's kind of like if you're not present, you can't win. Carolyn Coleman, name these 3 beautiful women in 5 words.
Jackie is tenacious. She is artistic. She's powerful. She's a softie. You wouldn't know it, but she is a softie. But she cares. She cares. Awesome. Very caring.
Melanie.
Okay, Melanie. She is smooth as silk. Melanie is smooth. The voice tells it all. Very intelligent. She's artistic as well. And she's deep when it comes to expressing herself in her poetry.
Yeah. Yes. And LaQuita Parks.
Okay, LaQuita. is determined, selfless, loving, lover of the Lord, community.
Awesome, awesome. All right, all right. Melanie Johnson.
Okay, where do I begin? Let's start with
I think you
Jackie.
begin right. Begin with the
The
lady who said you
vessel.
was flirty.
Okay. Now some of mine won't be one word, but it'll be one concept.
Okay.
Mrs. Cox, and she know where that come from. Loving mother. Um, Tenacious. Beautiful, inside and out, and heartwarming. Was that 5?
That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. And I was gonna say fire too, so that's just an honorable mention, okay? Cause they're good. She put something behind you, you know, you lit up. Carolyn.
Okay.
Carolyn is beautiful, soft-spoken, intriguing, caring because of her occupation. She has to show that. And knowledgeable.
All right, now I'm waiting on mine.
And Mama LaQuita Parks. All right. LaQuita is strong-willed, disciplined, giving, sacrificial, and loving.
Awesome. Thank you. It's my turn, my turn, my turn, my
Okay.
turn.
Now wait a minute, Quita, don't go to them slam day.
I'm gonna start with Melanie. Melanie, spicy, and that's from the slam days.
I knew it. I knew it.
Spicy. And I'm talking about spicy. The voice, definitely the voice. Passionate. Persevere, just the sense, the an amazing ability to persevere. And overcomer.
Wow.
And then I'm gonna go to Carolyn. Carolyn, Miss Gentry herself. Funny, loving, so loving, compassionate. And these are all the things that she's been for me. Caring, just super caring. Generous.
Yes.
Generous. I have another word for you, Carolyn. Carolyn is, I'm going to say awesome. Carolyn is awesome because she is just available. I don't know how she does it. Just available. And she is genuine. And I mean that. I really do mean that. She's genuine. Jacqueline, I'm having an emotion here because I've had Carolyn, I've had some times, and our conversations over the last couple of weeks have got me through the last 24 hours. So thank you for that. And you know, I know you know what I'm talking about, but thank you. Jacqueline, man, what can I say about Jacqueline? Loyal, loyal to a fault, loyal. Caring, very caring. I'm going to say sensitive, and it's not a bad thing, but sensitive. Compassionate, and the sense of family that she has, Mr. Cox, and her family, her whole family. And I have some other words for you too. And I have another word for you too, Melanie.
But you can put that spicy on Jackie too, because that girl is spicy herself.
Right. I mean, hot mama, hot
Yes.
tamale, hot tamale. And I don't mean that in a bad way. That's not a negative. None of these are negative things.
Mm-hmm.
The compassion that you have, ride or die.
Mm-hmm.
And you're ride or die even when you don't need to be. You're ride or die. And Jacqueline and I've had these conversations. And talented, talented beyond measure, talented. There is nothing that I don't know of anything she cannot do. You cannot do. I don't know of anything that you cannot do. You're talented and your friend, your friend. Melanie, I want to say you are sexy girl. That's what I was gonna say. And I'm talking about from the voice and from the y'all. Am I telling the truth? I'm
Yes,
telling the
you
truth,
are.
right? I'm
Yes,
telling
I'm
you
the truth.
are.
looking at Betty
I'm
Boop
just
right
saying.
now.
I'm
I'm
just
looking at
Very
saying.
Betty.
bold.
Lucy got the hair. She got the
Mhm.
red lipstick. She is ready, like
And
Betty.
so I used to say, what
Betty
did I
is
used to say
sharp.
on the what did I used to say
Betty is
on,
sharp.
on the book slam
That's a
that is like
compliment.
this is too grown for me. Okay. It's too grown. I have to tell y'all good night because it's too grown for me. Okay. Um, so that was really good. And sometimes, I appreciate you. Jacqueline gave me my flowers yesterday. I appreciate you for that because sometimes you get skipped over, and I appreciate that. And it was timely. And I don't need to have it from everybody, but sometimes you just want to hear that you're doing good. You just want to hear that you're doing a good job and somebody sees you. Okay. But I truly believe that as long as what I'm doing is glorifying God, when I stop glorifying God, I need for somebody to say, look, God gonna shut it down anyway. So when I
Mhm.
stop glorifying God, it's not worth it anymore. Okay. So now I want to share something and then I want to get to the vessel. Wait with me. Wait with me, dear God, in this sacred space as I pour out my heart seeking your embrace. In the waiting room of surgery for my soul, I yearn for healing to be made whole. Like Maya Angelou's poignant verse, let my words carry a depth that I can immerse. Metaphors entwining with the likeness unseen, a tapestry woven, a whispered dream. In parables, Jesus imparted wisdom divine, so let me share these verses inspired by thine. For in the scriptures I find peace and truth, guiding me through trials, renewing my youth. Be still and know that I am God, you proclaim. In Psalms, these words carry no hint of shame. In the waiting, I find strength to endure, trusting in your grace so pure. As a surgeon mends a wounded heart, you, dear God, can heal every broken part. With precision, you stitch my soul anew. In your presence, I find peace so true. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, you said. In Matthew's gospel, these words I've read. In the waiting room, I lay my burdens down, knowing your love will never let me drown. So wait with me, dear God, in this sacred space as I surrender to your loving embrace. In the waiting room of surgery for my soul, you restore me, making me whole. In the depths of the waiting room where souls reside, I find myself seeking solace with you by my side. The women of the waiting room, a sisterhood profound. In this anthology, our story shall resound. Like a surgeon's scalpel cutting through the pain, your words, dear God, pierce through healing the strain. Metaphors weave through each verse like delicate threads, symbolizing hope, transformation, and life's threads. In this sacred space where time seems to stand still, I pour my heart out, surrendering to your will. Just as Jesus spoke in parables of old, let my words unfold, captivating and bold. Scriptures guide my pen as I quote with reverence from various translations, sharing your deliverance. In Psalms, I find refuge, a shelter from the storm. In Proverbs, wisdom's voice guides me in life's norms. The waiting room, a place of anticipation and grace, where souls gather seeking your healing embrace. Through the pain and struggle, you offer redemption, revealing the beauty in our broken perceptions. Be still and know that I am God, you whisper. In the silence, I find strength, my heart's elixir. From the depths of weariness, I turn to your word, finding solace, knowing my prayers are heard. In the anthology of souls, we find solidarity, waiting, healing, and embracing our humanity. Through parables and metaphors, we unveil the power of your love that never does fail. Wait with me, dear Lord, as I lay my burdens down in this waiting room of souls where healing is found. Transform me, mend my spirit, make me new. For in your presence, I find solace through and through.
Amen. Who wrote that? That was beautiful.
Absolutely amazing. Amazing. So the vessel. Let's talk about this poem. Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Every single part of it. Absolutely. When I read it the first time and the second time, and even now reading it, it gives you chills because it incorporates everything that we go through in the waiting room, but it gives us peace when we're attuned to God's plan. Because God has a plan for us in the waiting room, and we have to take advantage of what's happening in the waiting room. Now we can go in the waiting room and we can be mad and angry in the waiting room, but it's going to make the waiting horrible. But if we're in tune to what God wants us to do in the waiting room, hey, by the time the nurses and the doctors call us out of the waiting room, we be done made friends. We be done touched some souls. We be done shared the gospel. We be done ate all kinds of things in the waiting room and be done forgot. We didn't have so much fun in there. We be done forgot. We waiting to see somebody. so the vessel, tell us about your entry, and this was the poem that you wrote in the waiting room. What made you write that poem? What was the inspiration for it?
You know what? I've always enjoyed writing poetry, and I see myself just getting better and better at it. In all of my published works, I've always intertwined poetry with everything that I've written so far. My first book, It Can't Always Be Night, was actually a book of poetic memoirs. Mountains Can't Rise Without Earthquakes was my best-selling memoir to date. 6 months for the paperback, almost a year now for the ebook, and I'm still number 64 in the top 100 of bestsellers on Amazon. And I think that's because not only is my story relatable, right? I always give glory to God for everything that I do, but I always try to use every drop of oil that He has given me. And that is honesty, transparency, and a gift for poetry. I'm in love with poetry. So when I write, I intertwine poetry in everything that I do. So when I was waiting for this book to be released, I was waiting on people to finish their projects. I was waiting as I was doing some of you guys' individual trailers that I was doing for the promo and the marketing for it. I began to get into the word and start looking up different verses or scriptures in the Bible that told the story of waiting and told the story of how we are supposed to trust in God in everything that we do. And Dr. Velma actually helped inspire it, not from any conversations that we had, but a lot of her writing is parables when it comes to the word, and Jesus did the same thing. And I just wanted to use that as a way to tell people what to expect in the book without giving away too much, but also to pay homage to each one of you. Because I did have the privilege of reading your stories and bringing those stories to life through the trailers. Was just very emotional for me, especially Teresa Dorsey. She isn't here. But her story about Hurricane Katrina and surviving that, that made me want to write that poem. So that was the inspiration.
So what were some of your favorite parts of the book, throughout the heart?
Oh,
So in this in
don't
the
put me on the
story,
spot.
what were some
Oh
of
man,
the things that you can remember? I know we're getting old and we can't remember everything.
no,
We have to go
no,
back
no,
and
no. I have to let y'all know because I do got a favorite, and I don't care. You know, y'all may feel a certain type of way. I ain't trying to make nobody feel no type of way, but to be honest with you, Teresa Dorsey, Teresa Dorsey, I love you, Reese. Okay, Reese. Her story was so captivating to me. And you know, I told you I was gonna give y'all some behind the scenes shenanigans. But me and Reese bumped heads from the beginning to the end of making this thing, y'all. But I will tell you this. Teresa is a fighter. Teresa is a survivor. Teresa is firm, and Teresa don't hold no punches with her story. She was in the middle of Hurricane Katrina when it happened. And a lot of my friends are survivors of Hurricane Katrina. They came over. I was in high school when it happened. And for her to be able to make it out of that, and then she was homeless, to now have um, finishing up her master's degree while being a caretaker for her dad, and still working for the government down there in Louisiana. Girl, you are everything. You are phenomenal. And through everything she has done, she's still been able to be a phenomenal writer and still have her faith. And see, my other favorite part about doing this book is not to glorify us in ourselves and what we have done for ourselves, right? This book is not about that. This project is not about us. Let's be clear on who this project gives honor to. In that waiting room, yes, we overcome these things, but we overcome these things because of God's grace, because of God's mercy, because He loves us so much. He kept us, He covered us. And this is what our stories are telling you guys. If you don't believe in God, if you doubt Him, if your faith is wavering, if you feel like, you know what, God, you forgot about me, this is what this book is about. It's about, you know what, I attempted suicide. I was getting beat. I've been betrayed. I've watched people betray their family members when I was at work. I have been living 50 years with pain. And on top of that, I've been hurt and betrayed and misled. Okay? And taken advantage of, right? On top of that, I've been uh, coddled by my mom and dad and always told who I was, but then I let society come and tell me who I should be. And God covered me through that, and He showed me who I was, not who I could be, right? Um, we've all been through so many devastating, traumatic things, and yes, it's hard to unpack. And, you know, I've had you guys tell me. I'm not telling you all my business, but to know that it's not your business to tell. It's God's, for people who may not believe in him. Give us your deepest, darkest, and show people how God brought you to light, how God brought you through it. And if you're still there, how does it feel? And if you don't have a garment to hold on, you don't need one. Jesus healed somebody off the strength of his friends, of their friends' faith. So we are your friends. Get this book, because we all got faith. So if you ain't got no faith, you got 7 friends. Well, 9, including the forward and the afterward. You have 9 friends
Holding up the
guarding.
wrong book.
I know, but I can't find the book, y'all. Okay. You got 9 friends in this book. Well, in this one too, this a woman evolved. Okay. That's free promo for Sarah.
Right.
Look,
She
that's
didn't
free
give you no
promo
free
for
promo for
Sarah.
your book. So he
Right.
go, yeah.
Right. Okay. So you got 9 friends in this book that's in behind me. You got 9 friends, garments who you can touch, who you can read. And guess what? Because of our faith, you will be healed. And that is the reason for this book. That's the reason for that poem. That's what I love so much about the stories in this book, because we ain't a prophet line over here. We are living witnesses. We are right here in y'all face right now talking to y'all. And we would not be here. I would not be here. Melanie would not be here. We have done things, and we can't tell you too much, but we have done things to be sure that we were not here. And God brought us through those things, and nobody could have brought me through nothing that I did to myself. Peep game, because you have to take accountability that I did to myself, but God.
But
So
God.
that's the name of my chapter, Killing Two
But God.
Birds with One Stone, but God.
Yes, thank you. And so, you know what? Thank you guys so much. This is amazing. If you have not purchased the book, it is available now. You can go to Amazon, get the book. You can reach out to any one of the ladies in the book to get a book or get an autographed copy. There is no reason why you should not have this book on your shelf. And buy one for your neighbor, buy one for your friend, because there is somebody in a season of waiting. You're either coming out of a season of waiting or going into a season of waiting. So the foreword was written by Dr. LaQuita Davis. The Killing Two Birds with One Stone, The Vessel, Jacqueline Cox. Hold Your Head Up, Princess by Dr. Velma Bagby. Waiting by Miss Carolyn Coleman. Overcoming the Storm, Teresa Dorsey. Healing Deferred, Melanie Johnson. Trust and Obey, Dr. Audrey Ann Moses. And we sung that at church last night, Trust and Obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. The Courage to Wait by yours truly. And The Afterwards by Michelle Brown. Amazing book. You have it here. These are the women of the waiting room. The women of the waiting room. So tell us as we go, and I want to thank Kevin Vaughn for always being here to produce this show. He is absolutely nothing short of amazing, and I love him. Thank you so much, Kevin. Every day I have a client who says, every day and every, how you doing? Every day in every way, doing well, every day in every way. So Kevin Vaughn, thank you. Special shout out to you. And so tell everybody how they can connect with you. But before that, I want to know what you're doing. So Carolyn, tell everybody what's next for you and how they can connect with you. And then Jacqueline, I'm gonna give you a minute to talk about our second bestseller and what's
This
on
week.
the horizon. What's on the horizon after that when I get back to you. So Carolyn, what are you up to and how can we support you in it?
Well, I've started a book of short stories. I need to finish that. I've started I'm back to fiction. I want to get back to some fiction, and I've started working on some of that. I was talking to Dr. Velma in an interview, so I'm going to do some of my dad's sayings that he instilled in me. So it'll be a short book, but I'm looking forward to doing that. And I think that's it for right now. That's enough. That's a good.
What about your show? You looking for guests for your show?
Yes, yes. You all can contact me and be a guest on Gentry's Journey. And Gentry's Journey is about your business, your book, your brand, and it's also about something health related that you have a passion for or that you're doing. So, I had to put some nursing stuff in there, or some medicine stuff in there. And so Gentry's Journey, you can find me on YouTube, and I'm a global podcast host. So I am on many platforms, national and internationally. You can go and get my books, because the Gentry series is being repurposed by no other than LaQuita Barnes, paper
Yes. Long
publishing.
time coming, but it's coming.
It's
It's
coming,
coming.
it's coming.
It's
And
coming.
so it's a 5-book series about Gentry and her friends, and I enjoy her. I enjoyed creating her. And you can reach out to me at cpwbookshelf.com. You can find my work on my website and cpwbookshelf.com. On social media, I am Carolyn Coleman, or Carolyn_author. You can find me. And I'm not hard to find. I'm not really hard to find. So YouTube is the reentry of Gentry. So we go for what we know. I think
Awesome.
that's
Awesome.
basically it. But that's a good little bit. That should take me into 2025.
Thank you, Carolyn. And Melanie?
Well, other than teaching summer school right now, I am working on publishing a couple of books that I have been working with some authors on. I just finished working on my first fiction book, so I'm excited about that. Working with that author. Um, my first book was entitled Womanly Wisdom: What They Couldn't Tell Me. It was a book about my life as a domestic abuse survivor. And I'm working on my second book in the Wisdom series, and it's entitled Wisdom Revealed: What They Couldn't Do for Me. And you thought the first one was something. Yeah, this one I'm going to become really, really transparent. I'm also at the same time compiling more poetry. So my first poetry book was Flavor of Melanin. I haven't come up with a title for this one yet because I don't know what the flavor is going to be, but it's going to be spicy, a little different. Um, I was challenged to make one of my poems entitled I Am into a children's book. So I will be reaching out to my
Right.
dear friend LaQuita Parks
Yay.
because I'm going to need some illustrations for that one. But um, I'm looking forward to releasing, a children's book and something that they can relate to, because this I Am poem, it brings in a lot of struggles that women have overcome.
Mhm.
And but it also inspires them to keep on going, because what we always want to do is to keep the seeds growing and replanting, because we want our offspring to grow from the things that they gain from us.
Yes.
So that's one of my projects I'm trying to do. And I only have about 4.5 weeks left before I teach regular school. So I got I got a lot that I'm working on this summer.
So how can they reach you? How can they
Oh,
reach
Linktree, linktr.ee/Melanie Johnson. It has all my social media links, my YouTube links, anything that I'm doing, you can contact me through Linktree. And that's linktr.ee/Melanie Johnson.
you? All right. Thank you so much. Jacqueline Cox. So what do you have going on? What's going on? What you have coming up, and how can we support you?
Today was the launch of our best-selling campaign for the devotional. And that is the Women of the Waiting Room Surgery for Your Soul devotional, where we are number one new release, best-selling authors of that. but we have to get it to number one. So go on Amazon right now, get it for under $1.99. Listen, Linda presents the Women of the Waiting Room devotional. And this gives, you think this is something, 30 women. And they have affirmations, they have poetry, they have dissertations, they have testimonies, they have trials, tribulations. You get 7 in this one, but you get over 30. And it's just like a Reader's Digest, chicken soup for your soul type of vibe. But they go deep, honey. And these are not just women within the states. This one actually projects from all over the world, all different ethnicities, backgrounds. So it's not just women of color in this one. We have Caucasian, brown, black, red, blue, purple, child. We all in here together, okay? And we come together and form such an amazing, amazing, amazing piece. I'm so, so very proud of it. Also, we have the Women of the Waiting Room deck of cards. And with this deck of cards, what we did, we compiled the Fab Seven. So we all have 10 cards each, which they are poker decks, okay, with our pictures on it. Mel, show them to them, honey, because I got this green screen behind me. But they are poker decks with our pictures, and they have excerpts of our chapters on there, and some are affirmations, some are scripture, some are excerpts, just very, very beautifully made. Each author has a way of introducing it on their respective sites. Some may put them in bundles, some may sell them separately. So just look out for that. When you get your signed copy, just pick up a deck. They're very beautifully made. If I may say so myself, yes, I designed them. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Besides that, I got to shout my husband out. My husband has 2 books that are coming out with PayPro-V. One
Let me
is
talk
the
about I'll
Okay,
talk
so you
about
can talk about those. Okay, because I'm gonna rep my husband because he
I
in both
know,
of them.
I
But
know.
besides that, I have one more book
Jesus
that's
Cox.
coming out. That's coming out, and it's called Chi-Town Diamond in the Rough. And this one was a hit on Pocket FM. It is a fiction story about a girl who ran away from home. She gets into a lot of trouble with people in the streets of Chicago, and it gets rough and it gets deep, but it is a remarkable story of perseverance as well. A lot of plots, twists and turns, and that should be out at the end of June. After that, we are recruiting for volume 2 of the anthology and the devotional. You can contact me or LaQuita Parks about that, or any one of the Fab Seven. They know how to get you to me. You can go to my website, listenlindapresents1.com. So that's all one word, listenlindapresents1.com, for more information on how you can be a part of that. Or you can find me on Facebook, which is Jacqueline Cox. I'm on all social media, but the best way to contact me will be either through Facebook or through listenlinda1presents.com.
Thank you so much. And before we go, before I say my goodbyes to you guys, I want to say congratulations to Jacqueline Cox and her husband Marvis Cox for being the recipients of the Presidential Award. So kudos to you both. I look forward to you guys coming to visit Atlanta. I'm excited about that. So congratulations to you both. And I want to say congratulations to Kevin Vaughn. Kevin Vaughn and Marvis Cox are both contributing authors to the men's anthology, Our Journey from Boys to Men. This book will be available on Father's Day. Father's Day 2024. It is on pre-order now, and we will be doing our campaign on the 15th. 22 men tell their story in this book, and they are amazing. So 20 plus men from all walks of life share their stories of things they learned on their journey to becoming a man. So from the preacher to the street hustler, these are their stories. These are their stories. So I'm excited about this. My son is a part of this book. My dad is a part of this book. I have a cousin who's a part of this book. My children's father is a part of this book. So they have some amazing stories. They have some amazing stories. My grandchildren's father is a part of this book. So some amazing stories. And these are the men are from all walks of life. And if you guys can see that, that's Kevin Vaughn. Kevin Vaughn is in this book. And so I am
There go my
excited
husband. He
that,
right there.
yes, Marvis Cox.
If you don't
Marvis
point,
Cox.
if you don't point out Mr. Cox, all of us gonna have to get out of here.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's my son and there's my dad. But so this book is available now. So you can get this, you can purchase this book. You can reach out to Kevin Vaughn to get your autograph copy from him, or you can message PayPro V Publishing to get your copy. You can reach out to Jacqueline Cox for Marvis Cox to get his autograph copy. But get the copies, share this with every young man that you know. Every young man, whether they are going through some things or not, they need to share these stories. There are stories on alcoholism. There are stories on abuse. There are stories on jail time. There are stories on suicide attempts. There are stories on perseverance. There are stories on overcoming doubt. So it's an amazing book that you guys need to share with your young men. Okay. And so I want to say thank you so much. It has been a plump, pleasing pleasure to be a part of this, the Women of the Waiting Room. Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for asking me to publish this project. I am honored, always honored, and I'm very humbled. We have to know that there is purpose in our waiting. No matter what we feel, no matter what we think, there's purpose in our waiting. And how we go through the storm determines how we come out of the storm. And I have to remind myself that all the time. You don't always have to be okay, and you don't always have to pretend to be okay. Sometimes, Carolyn Coleman, right? It's okay to not be okay. But check on those people who you think are strong and they don't need anybody. They do. We do. I say all of us on here are strong and we need somebody to check up on us. Okay. Because you're right. We're usually the ones taking care of other people, and we're the last ones on the shelf
On
to,
the
to
totem
be
pole.
taken care of. So I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for this circle. I'm grateful for this community. And so if you have a story, 100% of everybody living and dead has a story. And PayPro V Publishing helps you take that story from a thought to a realization. But here's the thing, even if it's not PayPro V Publishing, it can be anybody. Melanie is a publisher. It can be anybody who you connect with to help you tell your story in the way that is not going to exploit you. Tell your story, because there's healing in storytelling. I've read this book. Every single one of these stories have touched my heart tremendously, and it has given me a different understanding of people. I knew the women in this book. I knew them before this, but it gave me a different way of looking and thinking of them. And it gave me the ability to be more compassionate and more understanding, because when you get to know a person through their story, then it gives you more compassion to be able to understand what they're going through or who they are. And God wants us to love everybody. Okay. So with that being said, if there's anything I can do for you, and if you're in Atlanta, if you're in the Atlanta area on the 22nd, please come to, there is the book launch event for the Men of the Waiting Room. It is going to be in Forest Park on June 22nd.
Not the men in the waiting room now.
I'm sorry, I'm transferring the Men of the Wait. Hey, no, now.
Hey, you got me an idea now.
I know now.
You can stir some stuff up now. Go
I'm
ahead
just
and go
saying.
downstairs
I'm
and
just
talk to
saying.
Mr. Cox about being the
I'm just
visionary.
saying, the Men of the Waiting Room. But our journey from boys to men, book signing, book launch event, and meet the authors. Some of the authors are traveling here, and there are some that are local. So meet the authors, get your autograph copy, and have some dinner with us. Okay, it'll be a dinner program and some fun, and meet the publisher. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. It has been a plump, pleasing pleasure. Better than a triple decker peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. If there's anything I can do for you, you can reach out to me. I'm on all things social media, all things. You can reach out to me under PayProV Publishing. If all else fails, payprovpublishing.com. If that fails, you can Google me. Just Google me, and it'll take you directly to where you need to be to get me. All right.
That's how I found her.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys so much. And until next time, this has been another amazing episode of So What's Your Story with the amazing women of the waiting room, the vessel, Jacqueline Cox, the voice, Melanie Johnson, Carolyn Gentry herself, Coleman. Thank you guys so much. I am your host, LaQuita Parks, and this show is produced by Kevin Bond, Mr. MLT Network himself. Thank you guys. Have a great one.
Good night.
All right. Thank y'all, ladies. Good night.